Good evening, Pilgrim. I'm Rob Marangi, Cringe Lord, Dreamweaver, Visionary, plus content creator. And today, we are going to discuss a vile creature that lurks within my virginity chambers. A chamber such as this has been infiltrated by a vile, three-headed horror, by likes of which many of you have seen multiple times across your very short, albeit long lives. Today, we are discussing the S.H.MonsterArts King Ghidorah 2019 figure. The special color version. So sit back and relax, as you are about to be lean and compact with fear. Like corned beef. This Rob clone stuff's really starting to get out of hand.
Warning.
Clang Fedora iced out version is pretty big. Very pretty big. It's 7:05, October 25th, a fine Friday. And I'm spending it talking about this. Well, I guess we can just get on into it. And starting at the feet, Ghidorah's toenails are going to be this nice shiny silver, except for seemingly this one, which looks like it missed paint day. Here's what things are going to look like on the opposing foot, and that exact same toe will be looking like it missed paint day. I thought y'all went to the slumber party. Y'all didn't do your nails? Sometimes the homies want to do your nails at a slumber party. Don't judge. Okay, it's kind of there. Kinda. Sure. Alright. At least the details on the feet are quite nice. And on these feet and parts of his ankle-looking things, we're going to see that Ghidorah will be adorning somewhat of a darker shade of gold in some areas, and believe me, somewhere, in some parts, it works. In other parts, not so much, and you'll see why. But hey, moving up, look at this detail, look at King Ghidorah's crotch, kind of looks like Imperfect Cell's mouth, peak. And we've got a lot of detail to look at here, but, I don't feel like it, because these are just the legs, who cares? Moving on up to the titty side, oh yeah. Save for his crotch looking like Imperfect Cell's mouth, yes, still peak. We are going to get this deeper gold color for the torso, which, in some ways, kind of contradicts the rest of the figure, and I don't know what to attribute that to, be it overpainting or an actual intended thing, but yeah, it's there and I have to comment about it. Really loving this silver paint that starts just above his cell mouth right into his necks. Unfortunately though, the center, trail, I guess we can say, it kind of skimps out on the silver before we actually get into the necky area. Bit of a bummer, $200+ figure. Anyway, the undersides of all of King Ghidorah's necks are going to be rocking that silver paint job. And yes, they will be rocking it all the way until the heads sprout out. And I do have to give S.H.MonsterArts, Bandai, Tamashii Nation some credit here. The paint and the detail on this figure mix so friggin' well. I love the way this silver just brings out that plated look, that skin look, whatever you want to call it. Although depending on how far you push the heads back, some of them aren't going to be fully painted, but you know what? I'm not going to take points off for that, because the overall look, feel, and vibe going on here is just lovely. Now, instead of going right into head, we're going to go right into the wings, and if you have the standard King Ghidorah, this might not be the most impressive thing, but these wings, they do be exceptional gold. Lovely, lovely detailing going on here. I mean, it's just practically flat gold. The ends of King Ghidorah's wings, these spikes, his fingernails, I'll jokingly call them, they're all going to be silver, and they're all essentially going to retain that silver all the way until they end. Here's just to hoping that the other wing... Wait a minute. I'm experiencing a bit of two-tone nature going on here because, hold on. We've got that darker shade of gold all over King Ghidorah's, chicken strips. And the way that it looks over here is just so good, especially in this lighting. Where is all of that over here? I mean, I can kind of faintly see it, but oh my god, look at that. King Ghidorah is repping the two-tone. Anyway, this highlighting is really cool. It breaks up the monotony of just straight gold. Not that that's a bad thing. And the silver on King Ghidorah's chicken strips, they're actually a lot more potent, a lot more obvious on this wing than on this wing. That shading, or highlight, whatever you want to call it, is going to continue on through here, and only now do I realize that, yeah, it's present on this wing, but it's just not as dark as it is on the other, and I really don't know how you could have missed that. One side looks like a brand new, unused Sharpie marker, the other one looks like a very well-used Sharpie marker that's slowly running out of ink, or already ran out of it. What a strange occurrence. Oh dear Christ, it's like that on the back of the wings too! Granted, the way this metallic and shimmery foily paint reflects in the light does look and feel as if it's got more to it than meets the eye, but then you look at the opposite side and it's like, okay, yeah, something is definitely missing somewhere, and it's that friggin' highlight. Wow. Well, at least the whole wing is technically painted, and there is some remnant of it on the wing, just not nearly as dark as the other. So now moving into King Ghidorah's back. As you can see, just like the front, it feels a bit mismatched. I mean, you look at his butt rigatoni cheeks over here that split down the middle, just like any good butt. From where the main body ends and the tails start, you can tell that there's an obvious difference going on here. And that weird little white spot where paint rubbed off. Oh, for shame. But moving up from that, we can actually see a random spurt of the original, like, base color of the figure. And then we move into these here spikes where you can start to see some silver coming about. And that's going to lead into one of my favorite paint applications on this figure, the silver-tipped spikes on the back of King Ghidorah's heads. This was so crazily unnecessary, but they went ahead and they did it anyway, and it looks great! Granted, under certain lighting and everything, it might not look like it's painted silver, but I assure you it is, and I assure you it is awesome. Sometimes, and I do mean just sometimes, it feels like S.H.MonsterArts kind of just nails the stylistic paint jobs more than they do the standard, which is hilarious because oftentimes you gotta do more work with these stylistic paint jobs. But this is awesome! I really friggin' dig that! But now we have to travel down from Tri-Head Mountain down to these tails, and these tails are a bit finicky when it comes to the paint. Let's rip him out of his ass. You can obviously see that there's silver paint on here, right? Well, the rest of the tail, it's not silver entirely, but it looks kind of like the one wing that didn't get enough highlights on it. It's almost as if their paint Sharpie markers almost ran out of ink because that silver is present. It's just nowhere near as loud and obvious as the base of the tail is. And of course, the thought process crossed my mind, maybe that was intentional. Well, when you look at the other tail and you see how much more that silver is actually present, you really begin to question. Was y'all running out of paint when you did these? What's going on there? But thankfully, the undersides of the tails are going to be crazy silver, and since they are metallic, it almost looks like it morphs into the silver when you get it under the right amount of lighting. The detail is fantastic, the paint apps, at least on this tail, are great, and I really dig just everything that they were doing with this overall paint scheme. And then of course we get to the tips of King Ghidorah's tails with random spurts of silver. The bigger spikes are going to have highlights of silver on them, not so much the smaller ones, except for that one for some reason. And then on the back of the tail, we're going to get more random spurts of silver, and as well on the spikes. Yeah, detail is on friggin' point. Really do dig that. Let's check the other one. Not nearly as much silver as the other one. Okay, well, this side's got the random spurt of silver, but interesting. I do like the details, though. Don't look at me, man. I didn't paint it, but if I had painted this, it'd probably look like shit. This is one thing I'll give Oscar Award Ghidorah over here. The tails aren't an actual sin to get on, and they don't hurt, although my finger might be bleeding because of those neck spikes. Now, before I move on to the heads, let's discuss the only accessory this thing comes with, $200 plus fucking dollars. That being these stands to help King Ghidorah stand, although he's been standing just fine throughout this video, but don't let that fool you. This guy has had his share of thrills and spills. There we go. And you know what? I'm not going to bother with the wing stands because we'll get into it later. So Ghidorah's crotch cradle is nice and applied. Let's take a look at heads. Starting with the top of the heads over here, as you can see, King Ghidorah is going to have the silver-tipped horns, and that's another thing I really like about this. It's so simple, yet I'm so impressed. I can't help it. It just looks cool from about any angle you get the heads in. It's menacing. The bling, the blow, the everything of this. It's just cool. And that's something I really need to stress about this figure. It's just cool. Cool enough to warrant that friggin' price? No. But as I'm sure most of you could expect, since this is King Ghidorah, all the heads are essentially going to look the same, sculpt-wise at the very least, save for this guy's minged-up horn over here, which was an important distinction in the movie, sure. But as we do over here in ShinRobjira land, we gotta take a closer look. The sculpt work on King Ghidorah's head is actually quite nice. Yes, it's comically oversized, but the detailings of the horns, all the different curves, the spikes, even his odd-looking lips that might just be seams, I don't know. A lot of cool stuff is going on here. Really love the presence of that highlight around the eye and moving backwards. Again, these silver-tipped horns are not to die for, but they're so cool. And this time when it comes to King Ghidorah's eyes, they are going to be blood red with black pupils. Hopefully this is even coming up on the camera. That might be a bit better. But I do have to say, it is nice getting eyes on this figure this time that don't look like low quality stickers that got poorly printed onto the heads. And speaking of poor though, let's take a look at this grill, and you know what? The much more muted flesh tone pink that the mouths got this time, it's still a bit on the messy side. I mean, nobody got the teeth perfect. Even Haya's was a little gummy. But at least it's not that bubblegum pink that clashed so very hard with the heads last time. It just was a fucking mess. Unfortunately, from the front, all of these heads are going to look like they have slack jaw just all locked up. It doesn't look great, but I like the way the heads look. I like the red eyes, I like the highlights around them, and the grills so far with King Ghidorah's teeth ain't too bad. Now, I know they don't look perfect, but let's not be too hyper jerk-offish about that, because here is my pinky as compared to those teeth. That ain't an easy paint job for anybody. We'll get some nice details on the roof of the mouth over here. The tongue is nice, and the gum to tooth ratio on this head ain't too bad. Couple of really awful looking scragglers there, but hey, it could be worse. I could have the standard copy of this figure out here and we could be talking about that. It's never going to happen. Shamathon is dead after this video. So let's take a look at Ichi over here. Ichi. Is bro foaming at the mouth? Did King Ghidorah get rabies? No, there is some missing gum paint on this dude's lower grill. Oh dear. Yeah. Wowzers. Okay. Well, zoinks. And that's a shame because the upper row of teeth is actually quite good looking. It's definitely better than the previous head. It's just once you get to the lower jaw, wow. Wowie, wow. So let's take a look at our dear boy Kevin. Roby smiling, looking like a horse. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. They made him a gummy boy. Okay, this side's a bit better. Oh man. And yet the eyes look fantastic. It's like a trade-off with S.H.MonsterArts. Sometimes the eyes suck and the teeth are great. Sometimes the teeth suck and the eyes are great. Can you pick a lane here, Bandai? But for the most part, yeah, one side really blows and the other side not so much, but why are these mouths freaking crooked? So I bet you're wondering what my rating for the paint is going to be and what. God damn, Ghidorah's got that gorilla grip bussy. I can't believe I just fucking said that. I have to leave that in this. No, it's not going to be outright negative, but there are a few things that I need to be hard on with this release. Overall, I love the colors and the idea S.H.MonsterArts was going for with this figure. I love the gold, I love the silver, I love the highlighting, but for a figure that isn't almost $200, but flat rate $200 plus before shipping, having a wing that doesn't match the other wing on either side is kinda confucky. Whether this was intentional or not, having the whole centerpiece, the body, feel mismatching from the rest of the figure is also a bit confucky. Ghidorah's toenails was on fleek until you realize that these two over here aren't really all that well painted. The tops of the tails back here are a little inconsistent, as one feels like the rivers weren't flowing, while the other one looks like the rivers were flowing like the blood of ancient Babylon. And you got the back of the figure over here, which has that one random miscolorment, but then even that doesn't match the rest of the figure. But then you run into the good portions of this paint job. The overall gold, it's an absolute win. The silver tip chicken fingers, the highlights on the fingers that unfortunately really only exist on one wing. The silver plated underbelly moving into the necks, the heads with the silver tipped horns, the red eyes, the highlights on the red eyes. There's so much to love and appreciate about this figure, but there's so much about it that just really gives me the ickies. I gave KOTM Burning Godzilla a pass because from the jump it really didn't look like they were trying to do anything screen accurate. And I want to give this guy a pass because clearly they're just doing their own thing, but when you're doing your own thing, if you've got a highlight that appears on one side of the figure and barely appears on the other, you gotta make sure that those things friggin' match. Yes, this figure stands tall and imposing with this wide wingspan and now flashier colors, but now every time I look at him, I'm just going to see two-toned. But I'm also going to remember that I just like the paint schemes. So, detail, solid star. Fire, of course. Is it screen accurate? Absolutely friggin' not. But paint. I really do like this paint job. I do. If it was consistent, this would be 3 solid stars right off the bat. But for a $200+ figure, I can't exactly cut corners like S.H.MonsterArts seemingly did. So I'm gonna break it up like this. Heads and necks, solid star. Right wing over here, solid star. Left wing Moran, X. I like that highlight, I wanted more. Center body being a darker gold than the rest of the appendages, half a star. You only get to half a star because these silver titties are so nice. Legs, solid star. Feet, half a star each. Those toenails, bro, you were so close. Tails, half a star each. We were so close. So very close to a near perfect 10. But you know what? We shouldn't have to pay over $200 and feel like we're gambling with our money. Yes, this is mass produced and everything, but there is to a certain extent where you really have to question what's falling below the belt line here. Why does my copy have highlights on one wing on both sides, but the other one barely looks as if it exists? I spent well over...
The fuck do you mean by you paid for it? I sent that to you for free. I only paid $80, so I'm not really complaining that much, actually.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I guess I can't complain about price point because I didn't pay dick all for this. And there's your rating for paint. We're very, very close. But I will say this much. This is a million times better than the base release because I still hate the base release with every fiber of my fucking soul. Steaming. Pile. Two-toned mustard stain, shit. There ain't a damn good thing about that original release. And the fact that we had to pay more
for free,
and the fact that people had to pay more just to get a better looking version of that figure is ridiculous. Just make a good figure the first time a fucking round. What is S.H.MonsterArts, Zack Snyder? This is it! This right here! This is the proverbial director's cut to that of a shitty Zack Snyder movie, except this one's actually kinda good. Anyway. Size comparisons. Godzilla Collection King Ghidorah, HG King Ghidorahs, Egg Ghidorah, Chibi Movie Monster Series Ghidorah, Limited Movie Monster Series Ghidorah, Diamond Select Vinyl Bank Bust King Ghidorah 91, NECA King Ghidorah 2019, S.H.MonsterArts KOTM buddies. And wowzers, look at that guy. That's a big heckin' box. It's a little beat up. Apparently it was shipped to the original owner in just this box, which is pretty crappy, but it's gold. It is flashy. It's definitely eye-catching. I mean, if I walked around and I saw this sitting on the shelf, I'd be like, wow, that's gold. Fuck it! King Ghidorah surely sizes up to the competition, and here is where we are going to end part 1 of the S.H.MonsterArts Special Color King Ghidorah. I had a joke and then I lost it. Sounds about right for my quality control. Articulation. Let's discuss the necks. For those who don't know, nearly every neck on my standard King Ghidorah kind of fucking falls off at some point. So the bar is set so criminally low that just about anything could happen here and it would impress me, as long as it's of the positive connotations. So let's get Kevin nice and... What? He's doing a cock inspection! Let's fucking go! Oh my god. I have an S.H.MonsterArts King Ghidorah with necks that don't fucking fall off. This is crazy. Alright. Okay. Alright, Mistopheles. Let's see if you can get deep down. Yep, he can. Oh, shit. Alright, so we've determined that these two heads can inspect either or testicle, but can the center head look at his wiener? He can. Look at that. No fucking trickery here. Except that he's slowly falling over, so... Wow. I'm actually impressed. Look at that fluid motion. Oh my god. This is what it must feel like listening to James Blake on the beach. It's just so satisfying. Oh my god. Yes. Oh. Can all the necks do that? Oh, yes they can. Oh, yes they can. This guy's a bit stiffer, but you know what? I'll take stiffer over falling off. That is for damn sure. Wow. Oh, God. Yep. And there goes Kevin. There fucking goes Kevin. Oh. I have to give the necks a solid star each because none of them freaking fall off when I try to gingerly move them. Even when I apply pressure, they don't fall off. The ball joints at the base of the necks, allowing them to move forward and back, is really, really nice. Like, just awesome. Making it feel like every neck can move the exact same amount without either of the heads getting any kind of extra independence. I mean, all Itchy over here, he's a bit limited at the base, but he can move back and forward just as well as the rest, so yeah. The mouths can open and close. For whatever reason, this mouth feels like it can open a bit wider than the rest. Yeah, this one seems a little bit more gaspy, while this one seems more roar-y. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm showing? Yeah, that mouth can definitely open wider. Let's check Kevin. Oh, Kinev! Yeah! It's the same as the center head. Really not all that much going on there. This bro's got favoritism. Oh, I'm afraid to push these jaws because I don't want to break it, but Jesus. Fuck you. The legs over here are on a ball joint, as is everything on an S.H.MonsterArts figure, and they really don't have that wide array of movement. I mean, just listen to that squeak. Ugh, it's like styrofoam out of a cardboard box. It hurts the enamel on my teeth. So, up and down, all the way around, yada yada yada. We've got a kick forward at the knee and a bend in at the knee. We've got another ball joint at the reverse knee ankle thing. Whatever it's biologically known as. It's a three-headed golden space dragon. Give me a break. You're gonna get a pretty wild pivot at the ankle over here. I mean, with all the ball joints and everything, there shouldn't be a leg arrangement you can't do with or without the help of the stands, for sure. And the same thing will be present on the other leg as well. Nothing pops off, nothing falls off, everything's fine. Boy, oh boy, these friggin' tails. They definitely feel better than the original. For one thing, they can hold a curved pose up, but they actually don't fall off as often as the original one does. And it definitely feels like it's improved from there, so I have to give S.H.MonsterArts some credit for a possible tooling fix. Or I just have to give the ancient sham gods my blessings and possibly my baby cow named Milfree, because I guess I just got lucky, and I hate that that's still a fucking thing with this line. I don't have to state that every ball joint is a swivel, right? Like, you all get that, right? Like, the heads and everything can swivel. So now let's take a look at the wings. Yes, the wings are solid pieces, and here's where it's going to happen. I prefer the Haya version because the Haya version can move. It's able to detach the first three segments of its wings and turn it into a knuckle walking gimmick. I prefer that over the solid piece these days. Because yes, unfortunately, all you're really going to be able to do with the wings is lift them up and down, and you're definitely going to need the stands to see any fruit of that nature, because these things are... So close. So close. So fucking close! Hey now, you're a rock star. Get your game on, go play. You like fruit roll up over gushers, you're lame. I wish this arm didn't suck. Let's get a stand on that thing. Oh, whoa. Everything but the right arm is going to attain a solid star in rating. But the right arm, despite having the highlights, look at it, it's so lovely and obvious. Despite that, is going to get 3 solid X's because we were so friggin' close. This could have been a hit, knocked out of the park. Sure, it's got some pink quirks, but it just had to fucking fall off. That's what you get. You brito. Posability. So for the most part, S.H.MonsterArts Special Color King Ghidorah is a bit of a brick. It does make up for it in terms of the movement of its necks, but especially with the ailment that my version has, it kind of feels not worth it in the articulation department, as I really do wish in the time it took them to make this thing and release it, they would have done something else with the wings, even if it meant splitting them into 2 parts just to add support on them. In a situation such as this, a sleek look I could care less about if it just means that the figure can move a bit better, and something like this can be avoided. But I'm not going to deny that some of the poses I did manage to get this thing in are pretty damn cool. I'll give posability a half a star because it's good, it's not great, and for the time that they had to figure out something new, they didn't use it. I've been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all next time, where I'm going to be talking about, I don't know, Godzilla Egg Series Burning Godzilla Mothra and Mothra Larva, Movie Monster Series 1954 2024 version. It's gonna suck. Or maybe something else like Awakening Ortho Oreo Shin Godzilla Big Gucci Gripper Mouth Throat thing. I had fun with this video. I did. I've been recording for well over 50 minutes, so huzzah. See you all next time. Peace. Finally, Shamathon is over. I don't have to have it funking around in my head anymore. It's done. I'm so happy.
Not so fast. You forgot about the others, Rob. Allow me to remind you.
Oh, no. Ah! I don't want to do it. You can't make me do it. I don't want.
You will, whether you like it or not.
You know what, man? I'm starting to think you're not here to help me at all, because all you've been doing is torturing me by making me make videos that I have no joy in doing.
Of course. Help myself, that is.
Help yourself? I mean, how can you... Who even is yourself? I still, after well over a year's time of having to deal with you, have no idea whatever the hell you are. I really don't fucking know.
Haven't caught on yet, have you, Rob? As I said, I am an old friend. An old version of you.
He kind of created all of us. I mean, even Rob himself.
Before you came to be.
We're all essentially stray pieces of his prior personality.
Before you took over.
You're an older version of me. Not gonna lie, man, that's kind of half-baked and just a bit lame, but took over. I'm a little confused. I've been running this channel by myself since 2020.
How quickly you forget.